We're going live. Apparently, it's setting up the stream
Oh, I
right
see
now.
it. I see it. Yeah.
Sweet.
I'm refreshing. I still don't see it.
It says done. Redirecting to Facebook
There it
Live.
is. There it is. Okay. Okay, I see it. Yeah.
All right. Cool. So I want to move back to just this thing if I can see you, but maybe I can't. Maybe not. Maybe I have to uh, maybe not. Maybe this is it. Maybe this is just like what I get to see.
Somebody's watching. Who's watching? Oh, it's me.
Yeah.
Probably. Yeah. Well, now there's four.
All right. Well,
Ah,
welcome everybody. I'm glad that we're getting on with this. Now I can't see you, but that's all right. I guess we'll just continue to blast away with this.
yeah, I can see. I'm watching comments. So
Okay. Cool. Well, welcome everybody. This is a little bit different than what we're used to, right?
yeah.
But I think it'll be good. I think we've got some definitely some information that needs to be shared with a lot of people and things going on. And so maybe I'll start a little bit kind of what's been going on with like real estate and then how that will tie into where we're headed with the mortgage stuff. Is that all right?
Yeah. Let's
Okay.
do it. Eileen already said hi. Eileen Island said hi, Ryan. What up,
Oh,
Eileen?
what's up, Eileen? How's it going? Um, so basically, like, hey, here's the deal. We wanted to kind of give people an update, especially here in Omaha, because there's a lot of updates going around about the industry and the market and what's happening. But I think it's been different in every location, right? So we specifically want to talk about what we know and what's going on in Omaha, what we're seeing. Oh, excuse me, and all these things, and address some of those things. So first and foremost, I think you'll be as shocked as I am to understand. We had our meeting with our broker this last week, and he was telling us that our numbers are actually higher in pending units than they were last year at this time. And I think a lot more actually. If I remember correctly, it was like over 200 more pendings than where we were. So with that being said, I've been telling people it's been steady for us, and we've been blessed, and our industry hasn't really felt the effect of COVID-19. But I know that's not the same for everybody in my office. Like I've talked to some other people where they said it's slow. I've talked to other agents where they're just like us, where they said it's been really steady, and we've been busy. So I don't really know what to attest that to other than the fact that there's probably some people that are taking a vacation right now and waiting out this coronavirus. And there's other people like myself and our team that are making ourselves available to the clients out there that are still wanting to partake and participate in buying or selling a home right now. So with that being said, I mean, for us, I feel like, and I was telling you this earlier, Levi, when we were talking, I said, man, I feel like I'll get a buyer under contract, and then I'll have like two more buyers come out of the woodwork and be like, hey, I'm ready to buy, or what are the steps I need to take to get ready to buy, or hey, I'm moving to Omaha. I got your name referred to it, and it's just like it's a continuous cycle right now. So with that being said, I'm forever grateful for that, and I thank you, friends, family, coworkers, whoever you are out there that keeps referring that business to us. But also, I just wanted to say that I've been talking about this, and we've been talking about it for even the last like 3 weeks, and I've been posting stuff, and I've been informing people about our market. And before COVID hit, we were on record highs for like showings, contracts pending, houses on the like wherever we were before COVID hit, like we were way above where we were last year at this time. And so we're still continuing to see that being a proven record of still being where higher above than where we were last time, which is still kind of blowing my mind. But so with that being said, I've had a lot of people coming to me and asking me like, Ryan, is now still a good time to buy? And my answer is absolutely. Like now is a good time to buy. Why? One, because interest rates are still low, and I'm going to let you speak on that.
Yeah, for sure.
But I think two, I think one, with the interest rates being so low, two, there's a lot of people that, as we saw this spike, right, in showings that were taking place before COVID, we obviously saw that drop dramatically. While there was a lot of sellers out there that took precautionary things with them and didn't really want to have people coming in and out of their house and showing and things like that. And so, and then there were other buyers out there that were like, hey, let's wait and kind of see what this COVID thing is all about, what happens. Some people were getting furloughed, some people were getting laid off, so I think that stopped, obviously, that drastic climb that was happening. And now, you've got people that are still like, hey, my job is still going. I haven't lost my job. I haven't been furloughed. Like, is it still a good time to buy? And if it is, can I beat the rush of the crowds that were out there, right? And absolutely, that's what we're seeing. So what we're seeing is a lot less multiple offer situations, and a lot faster negotiation that's taking place. Where before COVID was happening, we saw a lot of stuff that was like, okay, we're going to list a house on Wednesday and we're going to go over offers on Sunday night. And you're like, oh, geez, there's going to be like 15, 16 offers on this house before we get to Sunday, right?
Yeah.
Well, now, obviously, that's changed because of COVID and because of other things where sellers are like, I just want to get my house done, sold, under contract. Like, let's roll. I'm not putting a timeline on this whatsoever. And so that's allowed us to keep moving and move a lot faster, I would say, in getting things under contract than playing the whole waiting game. So I think that's been a big thing for us, which has been what I've been telling my buyers is, if you're ready and you're pre-approved, let's go, because I don't want to go compete with the 15 other offers that are out there that are probably going to hit and take effect once this top's taken off. We'll kind of talk about that in a little bit, but that's kind of the update. Like, I've even had sellers where they're like, well, do I list now? Do I wait? What's the option of what I want to do? And really, I've just been telling them, hey, that's on you, and that depends on you and your current situation. Like, if you obviously have to move and you got to go, then yeah, let's get it listed, and we're probably going to get a good chance of getting some traffic through it and potentially getting you an offer. It might take a little bit longer than what we would have been to like 3 or 4 weeks ago, but I would still say that stuff is still selling a week, 2 weeks, with them being listed in certain price ranges, right? And then there's some other ones that are in higher price ranges that may take a little bit longer. But here's what I've been telling my sellers is, hey, we don't know when the top's going to be taken off, right? So we don't know if next week they're going to come out and say, hey, you know what? Everybody can go back to work, blah, 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 right? Like, we have our predictions and where we think those timeframes are going to be. And I'm not afraid to go out here and say it. And if I'm wrong, I mean, hopefully I'm not wrong, but if I am wrong, then so be it. I mean, this was my opinion and my prediction of what I'm seeing, but like, I think there's a pretty good chance, based off of, what we've been tracking and following right now, that they're saying this week is supposed to be the peak of COVID. And we're supposed to see, like, the highest numbers and everything. And then we're going to start seeing the curve and the flatten out. Well, if that's true, right, like, then based off of what some of these experts have been saying, there's a good chance that things might start happening again, like come the first, second, third week of May, right? So again, I'm not saying that that's what's going to happen, but if we're watching those things and things go as planned and we start seeing those numbers come down, there might be a good chance. We know April 30th is a date that's been thrown out there a lot, and schools have been closed and all that kind of stuff. But what I've been telling my sellers is, hey, let's not play the waiting game. Let's be ready, right? So I've been saying this all along, like, prepared, not scared.
Yeah.
Right? I want all of us to be prepared, not scared. And so if you're a seller and you're thinking about selling your house, like, let's be prepared. Let's get it on the market now, so that when the top does come off, maybe we can sell it before then, but maybe not. But if it does come off tomorrow, hey, guess what? We're on the market and we're ready to roll, and we're going to beat that rush of all those other people then that are like, oh, we got to get our house sold. We got to get our house on the market. Like, let's fill out the paperwork. Let's go. Like, you don't have to worry about that then. It's already good to go, right? And there's also some other options, as far as, like, if you don't want anybody going in your house right now, you can do a no-show status, which basically is, your house can be listed in MLS, but it's a no-show. Nobody can go through. It's not going to count as active days on the market. all that kind of stuff. So there's other options out there, but I'm telling my sellers, hey, if you want to get your house on the market, like, or you're thinking about getting your house on the market, now's the time to do it, even in the midst of COVID, because we're still putting contracts together. Last week, my team put together 10 plus contracts and did over 2 million in volume. Like, it's still steady and happening, right? So as we're seeing that happen, it's like, well, we wouldn't tell you any different, you know,
Right.
if you're a seller or a buyer. So again, if you're a buyer, yes, now's a great time to buy, because you can get in and hopefully beat that rush that's going to be coming and that surge that we're going to be talking about. But two, you know, if you're that seller, you can also beat that rush. And if you need to get your house sold, it could potentially still get sold. So that's kind of the update. I mean, Levi, if you have other questions relating to that market, or somebody's commenting relating that, we can hit on that. But I kind of want to move into now the conversation that we've had throughout this week, because it's affected some of my buyers. It's affected some of my other team members' buyers. And, you know, we've been talking about these interest rates and low interest rates and all these types of things, but there has been some craziness going on with some of these loans, specifically FHA, right? And so can you kind of speak into, one, what you're seeing with that, and, you know, what we're learning from this whole process and this whole thing, and what the expectation can be for a buyer if they are FHA, and they can't get approved to be conventional. Can you kind of walk us through what should they expect, or what is going on currently with the government and with those loans?
Yeah, man. And it has changed rapidly. No, I appreciate you bringing that up. Government loans, not just FHA. We're seeing it on VA loans as well. USDA, maybe potentially. We don't do a lot of those, so I can't speak to that exactly. But FHA loans for sure, VA loans for sure. What we're seeing is the market's starting to constrict. There's not a lot of liquidity. There's a lack of liquidity right now because of everything that's going on with COVID, the economy being kind of at a standstill. However, there's still a ton of demand, speaking into what you're talking about before. There's a lot of demand. Interest rates, relatively speaking, are still really low. But because of the market constricting and the lack of liquidity in the market, what's happening is a lot of these larger investors who tend to buy and sell mortgages are not able to essentially purchase them as fast as they're being done. Yeah. The market this year has been absolutely flooded, last year as well, with refinances, a ton of refinances, tons of purchase inventory and purchase activity as well. So between those two things, we're having really high demand, a lot of moving parts, a lot of transactions. Now everything that starts happening with the virus, as well as the mortgage market, things just going absolutely crazy. With all that together, we're seeing, okay, well, there's a little bit of a challenge here, because with the lack of liquidity, they're not able to fund all these mortgages, purchase all these mortgages. In addition, we're seeing some hardships from people, financial hardships from people having the ability to postpone mortgage payments because of work situations, furloughs, and things like that. Hold on 1 second for me. Sorry, gotta close the office door there. A little background. But because of all of that, what's happening is, guys, that mortgages are getting a little bit more difficult, so to speak. And I think that this is likely going to be a temporary issue. You know, what we're seeing is essentially, if you have a 660 FICO score or less, it's going to be a lot harder for you to get a mortgage. And I do think this is going to be a short-term thing. But with everything that's going on, I guess a lot of these government insured loans, they're trying to shy away from lower credit scores, higher debt to income ratios. They're making the mortgage process, they're adding additional guidelines and restrictions and things like that, because with the lack of liquidity, they're trying to, I guess, tighten up the pool of loans that they're actually doing to make sure that they're good quality products is the way that they're looking at it. So it's been tough, honestly, because we've had clients where, we might have done a pre-qualification for a client, maybe 2-3 months ago or something like that. And if they had a credit score that was below that 660 mark, they might have still been pricing pretty well on an FHA loan or a VA loan or something like that. And essentially overnight, some of these investors are saying, okay, hey, we're not taking these loans anymore. So that's created an issue, because not only has it changed interest pricing, some of these conversations that we're having with folks now is, hey, we might have to hold off on shopping for a house for a little while, work on getting the credit better, improve some things there, maybe take advantage of the downtime that we all have together and try to focus on some of these things so that we can prepare you for, having a much better financial situation anyway, right?
Yeah.
Having that credit score, that lower debt to income ratio is going to be a lot better result for someone's financial situation anyway. They're going to have better loan terms and all those things. So the challenge is, it's kind of twofold, right? I think this is, it's going to help a lot of people who are in those situations, who have good credit, who have, good financial situations and things like that. It's going to help those folks by taking away some of that competition, talking about what you're talking about before. It'll free up some of that additional inventory and make for people less competing offers and things like that. So there's definitely a silver lining there, right?
Yeah.
The other side of that coin is that potentially it's going to push some people out of the market, folks, who might be in those lower credit tiers and who might have a higher debt to income threshold and things like that. It might mean that you got to wait a little while and that they can't purchase right away, or they have to look at using some different loan type or adding a co-borrow or something like that. So, for clients out there, guys, if you're shopping for a house, if you've been pre-qualified before, get with your mortgage lender, do a refresh on your pre-qualification or your pre-approval. Make sure that you are up to speed on everything that's going on, all the changes. They're happening changes super rapidly. So with that, things are moving very quick, and it's hard even for us to stay on top of it just based off of the pace of everything. So we are doing our best to update people, keep people posted on some of these changes and what's really going on. But of course, it's things are changing quick. So one of the other things I want to touch on, Ryan, going back to your point about how this stuff has changed quickly and will continue to change quickly, guys, what this means is, if you are a buyer or you are a seller, because what's happening right now, the market constricting, there's still a ton of demand. Interest rates are still very low these days and in a great spot. For the folks who are still in a position to buy, there's absolutely no better time than the present. But what's going to happen is, in the next several months, as we start to work our way back into a state of normalcy and get out of the kind of this twilight zone that we're all living in together, there's going to be a lot of pent up demand, meaning there will be a ton of people who wanted to buy previously, decided not to, change their mind, or maybe now they can't because the financial situation and the financial market has changed. When those things go back to the way that they were before, which will happen eventually, we're going to see the market just being absolutely flooded with people wanting to purchase, wanting to refi. And that's going to create even more craziness and competition that we have now, which will be great for everyone who's in the industry and you've been working with your clients, staying in contact with your past clients and your referral partners and things like that. It's going to be absolutely awesome, but it will be quite bananas, even more than it is already. So it's good for folks to know that. Get in while you can. If you have the ability and you're looking to purchase, now is definitely the time. Where would you rather be riding out of quarantine? In some rental or some apartment, with 50 or 100 or several hundred other people on top or below you, or in the comfort of your own home. So I think we're seeing a lot of that and seeing a lot of people recognize that.
Well, and I think that's a good point because we had basically, I've been talking a lot about that with other people as well, because I think as I've been having that conversation, you know, jokingly, I think some people have been like, wow, we really realized how small our house is, and basically that we needed to upgrade, you know, with all of our kids or whatever. I don't have a space to go to like be free or whatever the case is there.
Mhm.
But I think the other thing too is I think that people are starting to, and I was telling my wife this the other night. I'm like, what are people doing right now? Like, people are at home and they're making updates to their house, right? So they're literally, whether they know it or not, like they're starting to make these updates that they've been pushing off or putting away for so
Right.
long because they didn't have time, and now they're doing them. And what they don't realize is that the spouse might be thinking, oh, now they're finally getting that to-do list done, and now we're going to be able to move, you know. And it's like the other spouse might be thinking, man, I'm just glad that I'm getting this stuff done because it's been so long that I've wanted to get it done. But I think we're going to see a lot more houses come up on the market because of this time as well, and people making those updates and those things like that. But I want to go off of what you kind of mentioned there towards the end, and what we've been kind of talking about, and that's, you know, I'm calling it the surge. You know,
This, uh,
because I'm starting to feel it. I don't know if this may date me of how old I am, but I don't know if you remember
so,
the surge.
yes, the soda.
Oh, it's so good. They need to bring it back.
Yeah.
So whoever made Surge, if you guys are listening or know somebody that knows, tell them to make Surge, and I will drink that. It was like green.
Yeah.
It was so good. But anyways, I'm calling it the Surge because, and I'm gonna get your insight on this from your perspective too. But what I've been feeling and what I've been telling people is like, man, I feel almost overwhelmed, you know, with the amount of people that are showing interest in wanting to purchase and wanting to sell right now. That when the top is taken off and this first surge does happen, when things go back to, right, quote unquote, being normal again and people go back to their jobs, I think there's going to be two different types of surges. I think there's going to be the first surge where, like I said earlier, we had this huge climb of showings that were happening before COVID-19, right? That were way above where we were last year at this time. I don't think those people went away. I think those people basically were like, let's ride out COVID-19 and see what happens, and then we'll get back in the game. And I think those people are the ones that are still out maybe searching right now and looking, but also the ones that are kind of like waiting for that normalcy to come back. And then they're going to basically jump on board and go. And that's when the market's got to be ready for them because the demand is still there.
Right.
And like you said, you know, I think that then we're going to deal with that first surge of people, right? But then I think the next surge is going to come, you know, like in quarter 4, where that's like late fall, early winter into 2021,
Yep.
where a lot of that surge and those people are going to come from the people that might have got furloughed or got laid off, that then get their jobs back, but want to take a couple months to like save that money and get ready to go purchase the house. But from everything that I'm reading, everything that I'm listening to, like I'm literally diverging. I don't know if that's the correct word. Basically,
Roll with it.
immersing. That's the word
Yeah.
I was looking for. Like into a lot of education and following of people and experts and things going on in our market, because I want to be able to educate and inform everybody about what to expect. And all of them are pointing towards that like quarter 3, quarter 4 boom, quarter 1 next year boom because of that second surge, right? And so can you confirm that from your standpoint? Like, are you seeing that from the lending side of things? Like, are you seeing more people getting pre-approved and pre-qualified and all that kind of stuff? Or what are you feeling as it relates to that?
No, man, great. Yeah, great point. I'm not calling it the surge. I'm calling it the vacuum effect. That's what
Ooh, I
I'm
like
talking
it.
about.
I like it.
But yeah, same thing basically. And I think what's interesting right now, to your point about before, you're like, oh, I get one contract in place, and then you start working on things for your clients, scheduling inspections, and pretty soon 2 more are accepted and underway, and it's just kind of rinse and repeat, and it seems to never stop. And I think that's a lot of what's going on right now is I'm seeing transactions get put together much faster. I'm seeing people, buyers, if you will, sellers make faster decisions, find houses quicker, get them under contract quicker. It's like, oh, I spoke with this person, we did a pre-qualification on, and now they found a house. And I think a big portion of that is because the people who are serious are very serious, and they're wanting to get in and get in quick, and they're seeing the opportunity where there's other folks exiting the market, or deciding to wait or whatever. So they're taking advantage of that now. The secondary pipeline, if you will, for the second surge or the vacuum, whatever.
Yep.
Those folks, I think, you know what, if you're in the industry, if you're a lender or you're a realtor, this is absolutely the best time to be just grinding your database, working with clients, getting people pre-qualified or pre-approved, or setting up their transaction for down the road, right? And just building up that pipeline of people so you can not only educate them, get them ready and prepped, get that plan in place, and then when that time comes, have the ability to execute that plan for them quickly. So yeah, I think right now we're seeing a lot of fast activity, a lot of things moving quickly. And I think when wave two comes, so to speak, or the pent up demand starts to actually kind of unfold, we're going to see the market kind of return to the way it was earlier in the year and even parts of last year, back into multiple offer situations. And I think higher volume and activity all around, but much more reflective to like earlier in the year, as well as, middle of the year last year and stuff like that. My honest feeling is that I think we'll see just an absolutely insane, September, October, November, even December, January. Historically, I think January can be kind of a big month for a lot of people, but December is almost never. So I think we'll see that kind of flip flop this year, because when things do start opening up on the economy again, whether that's next month or the month after or whatever, there will be some ripples. It'll take a month or two, maybe for some people a little bit longer, to kind of get back to their even keel, get back to work, stack up a little bit more cash, feel again comfortable back in their normal life and routine. And then when that happens, bam, it's going to be go time for a lot of people. So now I don't want to chat too much because I want to hear more from your side, Ryan, but I do want to talk about kind of some of the other things that we're seeing challenges in, not only real estate, but also the mortgage world. We talked about differences in the ability for people to qualify, and loans kind of getting a little bit more difficult for, specifically speaking, some of those government loans. But I think what's interesting too, and what's worth us talking about, is a lot of what everybody's feeling, where I mentioned before, feeling like things are the twilight zone, or that we're living in the upside down. What I'm seeing a lot of, and I've spoken with a lot of colleagues around town, friends who are also on the lending side, and we're seeing a lot of appraisals taking 2, 3, 4 weeks. Sometimes appraisers not even accepting transactions altogether. We're seeing just kind of delays across the board because everyone is short-staffed, whether it's a bank, mortgage company, or it's a buyer who works for another company, reaching out and trying to get verifications of employment and things like that. The whole entire system has basically, I don't want to say shut down, but it has slowed quite a bit. So there's ripples that go into every part of that process. Specifically my world, the loan world, has changed quite a bit, and we're all trying to adapt every single day because of turn times getting longer, response rates getting slower, things like that. So guys, if you're out there, clients, if you're purchasing, or you're doing a refi, if you haven't heard from your lender for a couple days, no news is good news. They're probably working on things for you. It's just with everything that's going on, it's been just absolutely bananas trying to manage everything and do it correctly for people. So turn times are definitely being affected. Now, a lot of these larger government-sponsored enterprises, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, have come out with new guidance on loans and how to treat loans through this process. So we are seeing some of these things being loosened up as far as appraisals needing to be done, full interior appraisals and things like that. We're seeing appraisal waivers get granted quite a bit, especially on conventional loans. We're seeing appraisers take more orders where they're just doing exterior only inspections, drive-by inspections, things like that. So I think that's really going to help moving forward. But the last couple of weeks, 2, 3 weeks, have just been absolutely crazy when it comes to specifically appraisals, turn times, and fulfillment issues and things like that. So just be aware of that, guys. If you're, it's by the most part, it is an industry-wide thing. There might be the one-off situations where you get your appraisal back, within a couple of weeks. We're seeing those too. It's a lot more common to see much more of these delays and kind of bumps, if you will, throughout the process. I think that's where it's really important just to work with somebody who knows what they're doing and can help solve challenges and problems and make sure that they're ultimately getting, the goal accomplished for that client, whatever it is, refi, purchase, listing, sale, whatever. So yeah, I'm seeing a lot of that. I guess I want to hear some of your thoughts as far as some of those changes and what you're seeing.
Yeah, I mean, so that's good, good stuff. And what I've been telling my buyers even now is, before it used to be like, we could close something in 30 days, right? And now I'm telling them, hey, we're looking more so of like 45 to 60 days, so like a realistic time frame for closing is like, let's try to shoot for around the 45-day mark, just to allow enough time to happen with those appraisers and
Right.
there's things going on, inspections, things like that. So I think it's just, again, it comes back to just setting like the expectation up front, like, hey, here's what's going on. Here's the things that we're seeing, and again, this is why I think you want to use a realtor that's full time, that's in this, that does this every single day, because they can speak into what's happening on a daily basis. Like you said, things are changing almost every single day, it feels like, and so like it's, if you're going with someone that's not immersed in it and it's not educating themselves and staying informed and knowing what's going on, like I feel kind of sorry for you, because they're not going to know how to answer those questions based off of like, well, are sellers accepting this type of offer? Like they're gonna be like, yeah, let's just write it up, let's do it. Or if they know what's going on, they're going to be like, no, they're not going to accept that. That's not what they're going to be looking for. And I know that because we just sold one, this day or whatever. So I think it's just one of those things where you have to be educated, one, and be informed, but be connected and networked with the right people, and I think it's important during this time where, like, I mean, I got to sit in on, a Zoom meeting yesterday with Jared James, who is the coaching company that I work for, and then the CEO of Berkshire Hathaway. So for me to like sit back and watch them interact and ask each other questions, and to hear how times are changing and things are changing in our industry and what they're doing to basically change with the times, was a great conversation to be a part of. And those are the things that like we're tapping into and I'm listening to on a daily basis, because I want to know, like, what's our CEO thinking? What is the marketing team doing? What is, like, what's Jared doing, and what is he coaching us to do as coaches, as we work with our students, like all of those things to stay informed and on top of the industry right now, which I think is important. So with all that being said, I think that we, need to be on top of our game, and that is being immersed in this culture right now and what we're doing. And so I think it's important. I think that as we move forward with this, like, I truly believe that we are starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel right now. Like, yes, we're still in that COVID-19 phase and season of dealing with all the quarantine and the stuff that's going around. But I really do, and I keep telling people this, is like, you guys, we're running a marathon. We're not running a sprint. I've been saying that since day one, that, this is going to take some time to get through, but like, it's going to get over with quickly. Like we're going to look back on this 6 months from now, 8 months from now, a year from now, and be like, man, that was difficult and that was rough and that was hard to go through. And, there was a lot of things that made us feel uncomfortable. But I think also like it's important to think about some of the things that as you go through this process, like what are the things that I'm learning about myself, like through this COVID-19 thing, through being quarantined? What are the things that I'm learning about my business? What are the things that I'm learning about my family? What are the things that I'm learning about myself? Like, am I taking the time to really better myself as an individual and as a leader during this time, to educate and inform and encourage and serve and do all those things to everyone that I'm in contact with? So literally, like I feel like I've upped my game. And this COVID thing has really challenged me to get outside of my comfort zone in a lot of things. And it's also brought to the surface a lot of things that I've realized are things that I need to work on as an individual, as a father, as a husband, as a leader of a team, as a coach, like all these different things. And so I think it's important to obviously recognize those things and work on those things. But then at the end of the day, be like, okay, how do I take all these things and still give my clients and give the people that I'm around the best Ryan Potter that they can have during this time? And so I've kind of accepted that role. I know that it's a lot of burdens and things that have been on my shoulders, but that's why I'm doing things like this with Levi, and doing things where I can basically get you informed and educated on some of the things that are going on. So with that being said, I want to dive into, and maybe we can dive into some of these things. I think Levi, we might have lost him here for a second, but I can pull up some comments here that's going on. Do you know the best time to snatch up a piece of land? Surge was the bomb. Hey, Rita, yes, yikes, phone died. Uh-oh, Levi's phone died. So I'm literally like reading some of the comments there on Facebook. So yeah, the best time to purchase some land in central Nebraska was like a couple months ago when I had some listed. So thank you. No, but I'm just joking. Now's still a good time to purchase anything. Like we've got land for sale. It's not in central Nebraska by any means. I've got some land for sale in Fort Calhoun. We've got some lots for sale out in Blair and some things like that with our builder. So there's different things that are available for sure. But I don't think that there's, like I said, now's not a good time not to do that. Like it's always a good time to buy land. Like I've been saying that for years, and even talking to my wife the other night as well, where I was like, man, why? I wish I had some land right now where I could just literally take our kids out to and just let them run rampant, because all they've known literally is our backyard with a fence and grandma and grandpa's house, right? So like that's literally all they've known, and where they've traveled back and forth. Like they don't get out of the car when we go to the grocery store or when we make a Target run or when we do any of that stuff. Like they stay in the car and one of us runs in and gets something, or we have it delivered out to the car or whatever. So like it's just adapting to the certain circumstances and things that are going on. And then I was trying to read some more of these other comments that were in here. It's just adapting. Yeah, phone died. Heidi Harris, hello, how are you? Hope you're doing well. Molly Hayes said that you're on there. I see there's some others are on there. Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. And again, what we're talking about here is just kind of an update of what's been going on in our current market here in Omaha, because I know it's different everywhere you go. I know it's different on the coast than it is in the Midwest. I know it's different in the South than it is here. So we wanted to get on here and kind of talk about how is this affecting us and what are we seeing and where we're going. So with that, I think Levi touched on it a little bit already, but again, I think there's two surges that are going to be taking place, and one is here very soon and coming up in the near future when the lid gets pulled off, and I'm calling it Surge 1, where Surge 1 is going to be everyone just flooding back out to the market and wanting to buy. And then Surge 2, I think, happening late Q3, late Q4, and into 2021 in January, where I think a lot of those people that got furloughed or laid off are going to be the ones that are coming back out to want to buy at that time as well. So again, it's interesting too, because I hear a lot of experts saying that our industry is going to be a big part of getting the economy back to where it needs to be. And so again, that's another thing to be excited about. Like, I think if you're a realtor, I think it's important for you to stay educated and informed so that you can be educating your audience and your sphere of influence and people there, and know the correct answers to give them. And if you don't know, you know where to find them, and you know who to reach out to. So I just think now is a very crucial time. I think people want to know more information than they have before. I think people want to tune in to other people that have been going through certain situations during this time. You know, one thing I didn't get into that I was hoping Levi would jump back on here and get into, but a lot of people have asked me, Ryan, how is this, or is it any different than 2008, 2009 when we had the crash? And then even September 11th, 9/11, you know? And so I want to kind of speak into that a little bit, and Levi can hopefully tune back in here. But, you know, in 2008, 2009, with that crash, basically that crash happened because of the lending mortgage industry, where they were approving people and giving people this money that they didn't obviously have or could afford to go purchase this home. And so basically the reason for that crash was that all these people started buying homes, right? We saw all the foreclosures that took place afterwards, right? Were all these people that couldn't afford to be in these homes. Well, that's completely different than our situation right now. And so our situation now basically is it's more like 9/11, where you've got, what's up, Levi? There he is, he's back. And so I'm just talking about the question, when I've been getting asked quite a bit, is, Ryan, how does this differ, or is it different from, you know, something that took place back in the crash of 2008, 2009, or 9/11? And I've been saying that in 2008, 2009, I was hoping you could speak into this a little bit, is the reason for that crash was basically because all these people were approved and got these houses and were basically living in these homes that they should have never been purchasing to begin with. That's not the case with what's going on right now. Obviously, this is a pandemic, it's completely different. But how that differs is the lending side and the mortgage side, from the conversations that I've had with Levi and other people, is basically, though it's gotten a lot more stricter since then, obviously. But two, that's the big key, is with things getting stricter, it's making it more difficult for people to purchase a house, because you're going through this whole process now. And I joke with people all the time. Levi laughs at this all the time, but I joke with people all the time, because I tell them, you guys, when you're going through the pre-approval process, you're literally going to give the bank everything except for your blood. And it's kind of a joke when I like say that, but it's true, because they've gotten more strict. So I don't foresee that happening or playing effect into all of this stuff and how it's happened with what's going on now with like COVID-19. The thing that I can compare it to is 9/11. When 9/11 happened, you know, we didn't necessarily see a crash, but what we saw was a lot of scared, fearful people, right? We saw a lot of people that were like, okay, what is going to happen? What's going on? And I think the same sense is happening now, is a lot of people are seeing the difference here, as far as, okay, this wasn't a 9/11, but the same type of emotions and effects are taking place, right? Like, you've got people that are fearful and scared and not knowing the uncertainty of what's going to take place moving forward. And so with that being said, you know, I think that's why we're listening to a lot of these experts and a lot of these other people to speak into that, and following them on a daily basis, because a lot of those people are comparing, yes, that same emotion is there, but it's a completely different situation. And when the market and economy does come back to normal, it's going to bounce back faster than it did in 2008, 2009, obviously, and with 9/11, because it's like all these people have been quarantined, and now they're ready to like get back out, and they're ready to go support their community. They're ready to go support the economy again. And that's the whole purpose of a lot of these, you know, stimulus packages and things that are now being given out by the government, is that, you know, I think the government has come alongside a lot of these small businesses and families and people and saying, hey, we want to help you through this time, right? So that when things do get back to normal, you know, you're going to be able to make it to that point and get back on track, and then the economy is going to start thriving again. So are there things that will change? Absolutely. Like I think one thing that has changed, I've been asked this question a couple of times. I think one thing that's going to change is the way that video and technology has been handled throughout this process. Like if you're a person that doesn't like video and doesn't like to do the use of technology or social media, like you're going to be a business or someone that is going to fail, because we're going to need that more than ever moving into the future. And so I think as you go through that, that's one thing to be aware of, you know, and one thing to educate yourself on. So if you're someone that's sitting at home right now and you're thinking to yourself, like, you know, what can I be doing to better myself or better my business? You better be learning like video and technology, because that is going to be the future, and you're going to start seeing a lot more of this virtual stuff take place. But anyways, with that being said, Levi's back.
Finally, as you like make a joke about needing to know technology stuff.
That's funny. Yeah, I mean, it's literally like I was just talking about, you know, like just how, you know, I've been asked the question, like, how has this changed like your business, you know, with technology and video and stuff like that? And it really hasn't changed my business because I've been doing it now for the last 2.5, 3 years.
Yep.
And so for me, like this stuff comes naturally, but for a lot of other people, like they've never done this stuff before. You know, some people don't even know what Zoom is or any of that kind of stuff. And I'm like, I've been using Zoom for the last 1.5 years, 2 years.
Dude, shout out to Zoom, because
shout out to Zoom.
Like seriously, without Zoom, COVID would be the most boring. I mean, it is already, right? But like, how many Zoom meeting friend hangouts and conference calls have you done? Like,
oh my gosh,
I'm seeing pictures and screenshots of people all over Facebook where, you know, it'll be like 10 them and 10 of their friends who did a Zoom meeting or whatever. And I think that's just awesome. To be honest, another silver lining here, guys, has everything to do with COVID, not really much to do with real estate, but I'm really feeling, my personal feelings are that a lot more people are trying to be much more connected on an actual personal level instead of just logical level. And technology is helping them to do that now, instead of the way before where, you know, it was kind of separating us. That's a different philosophical conversation. But these days, I feel like everyone is so separated, right? Because we have to do our social distancing, that thank God for technology, because you know, people are so bored they don't have anything to do. They're like, I'm gonna call my friend, FaceTime, you know, let's do a Zoom hang or something like that. I feel like people aren't taking it for granted as much. You know, they're really value and wanting to connect deeper with their relationship. So that has been awesome.
Yeah, and I mean that's been huge. Where I think, you know, I've been telling people this. They're like, what's one thing you've done because of this to like implement your, you know, further deeper into like your business, you know? And I like I've said, I've taken this time to like jump on so many different Zoom calls and educate myself and learn from other people in the industry, outside of the industry, other entrepreneurs, other CEOs, different things like that. But I really think too, like I agree with that. Like I think, you know, people, what this has done for a small business owner, it has brought to light your weaknesses, right? Like it has totally shown you, okay, here's the areas that I need to improve in, and here's the areas that I feel like I'm strong in. You know, like I said, with video and this kind of stuff, like it comes natural to me. I don't get nervous about it. I don't fret about it. Like I've been doing this for so long that it's, but there's other things in my business where I'm like, man, I need to get better at that. You know, I need to get better at following up. I need to get better at checking in. Right. So like, I've been taking this time of like checking in with people, sending them videos, sending them a text message, sending them whatever, just to like check in and be like, hey, how are you doing during this time? Is there anything I can do for you? You know, like, it's rewarding, right? Like we talk about this all the time. Like we love Christmas. Everybody knows this now about us. Like we love Christmas because we take that time to give back to a lot of our people, and we have fun doing it, and we do some crazy things. Um, but I think even now, like even this last weekend, like we had some friends that were like, they've got 7 boys and they haven't left the house at all, you know, and they're like, hey, if we they knew that we were making a Costco run, and so we like, is there anything you need at Costco? And they're like, yes, like they gave us a list, and we ran into Costco and we got it and we dropped it off at their doorstep. But one of my favorite things about that is he always, whenever I'd see him in Costco before, you know, like he's got like 4 or 5 of the boys with him and they're like rolling around on the cart. And he's
This
like,
isn't Sean you're
it's
talking
Sunday, you know, like it's Sunday. And he's like, and Sunday's like when we get hot dogs, you know, because hot dogs are $1.50, and
about. Oh, heck
they
yeah.
have lunch Sunday at Costco with hot dogs. And so I'm like, screw it. You know what? Like, I'm getting them hot dogs with this Costco run. And so I literally like, you know, or I looked at the guy and I was like, I need 14 hot dogs. And he was like, the guy looked at me like, what? And I was like, yeah, I know. Like, I need 14 to go though. And I get 14 hot dogs, you know, and I left that, you know, with them. And I'm like, hopefully, you know, that's a memory for them. And hopefully it made another memory of like, hey, here's the boys at home eating hot dogs from Costco, you know, like, or whatever. And I didn't care about like the tab or any of that stuff, but it was just like, man, I hope I can make a memory for them, you know? And that's what I'm talking about during this time, is that if this hasn't made you reflect on how can I go serve or how can I go help someone, like you're in a dark place, you know, like, and I feel sorry for you because there's so many opportunities out there to just give back and be a part of the community, and yeah, just take advantage of this time, you know?
Yeah. Yep. Grow and learn, y'all. We're doing it together.
Yeah,
If you need help, reach out. I mean, there's a lot of people struggling too. So yeah, if you need help, I know there's a lot of has launched a couple pages. I saw some videos about that and stuff, and I know that there's also some other pages other folks have launched. So yeah, if you guys need help, anybody needs help with anything, you know, reach out to your networks, reach out to the people that you know, the loved ones and things like that. We're all definitely going to get through this stuff together.
absolutely.
Come out of everything stronger. So yeah, let us know questions, comments. Shoot us a comment or a question or personal message, and we'll do our best to get back to you. If you want to know more about the market, interest rates, anything like that, buying, selling real estate, hit Ryan up for sure. Hit me up with your mortgage questions. Happy to help. Anything else we can do?
Real quick, I got a question for you.
Yes.
So what have you done during this time that might be different than what you've done before?
Okay. Are you talking
I
about?
put you on the spot.
Are you talking about personal or business? What are you talking about?
I mean, it can be. Let's go both. Let's go like one thing personal, one thing business.
Well, I think okay. So my business answer isn't going to be that different than anyone else's. I'm working from home every single day.
Yeah.
I did that a little bit before, and in my from my previous employer, I worked almost 100% from home, so it's not super foreign to me. But you know, being at Core Bank, I love the office environment and love going in and hanging and working with my colleagues and stuff like that. So that has been a little bit you know, of a change. It's been good. I've been working much later than I normally would at home than I would have if I was at the office. But yeah, so that's kind of the work thing is I'm working all the time at home. The personal thing is my spouse and I've been spending a ton of time. Shout out Rach.
Yeah.
Time together. It's been awesome. You know, working right next to each other. That's her office setup right here. Mine's obviously here. So we're spending a lot of time that way, getting a ton of stuff done at our house too, being really productive that way. In some of the very few spare hours we have, we've been kind of knocking out some projects like you're talking about, landscaping, doing stuff like that. You know, we're all going to get out of this and find, oh my God, we have so much equity built up in our houses because we had nothing.
Yep.
But all of those projects that we've been putting off, you know. How about you?
Dude, yeah, I mean, I think from a personal perspective, you know, I realized that there's just more that I need to do from a husband standpoint, a father standpoint, a leader standpoint. Like, So I think I really got hit like with this and all, just being like, man, like I have got to become a better leader, like just all around. And so some of that has been difficult. Some of that has been rewarding. And so it's not always like butterflies and rainbows. Is that what they say? Like sunshine, like,
Yeah.
so, I mean, it's been a challenge, but it's been good. And then I think from a business standpoint, yeah, it's just been taking my foot and pressing it down to the floor and not taking my foot off the gas. And so, I think there's times where we can get like really busy in this business. And then, I think kind of take our foot off the gas a little bit, like to give ourselves a break or whatever. And for me, it hasn't been that. For me, it's actually been the opposite through COVID, where I've been like, no, now's the time to put the foot on the gas and like go forward.
Yep.
And so, yeah, there's a lot of late nights, a lot of different things like that. But I'm again looking at the long term. I'm looking at, I'm running a marathon right now. I'm not going to run a sprint, but like I'm going to pace myself and I'm going to get out and go do that. And I think another thing I've been challenging myself with, and a lot of other friends that are realtors, is I think what this has done is it's allowed me to take a step back and actually celebrate like where we've come. And it's hard to do that when you're in a business where it feels like it's just constantly going, right? Like I don't feel like I'm in an industry where like, there's seasons of slowness and fastness and whatever. Like, yes, when you get around the holiday season, a lot of people say like that's when things start to slow down. But the past couple of years, like it hasn't for me, So like it's continuing to still like you push through those times, but you also realize like, hey, I need a vacation. I need to like take a week away or whatever because I'm gonna lose my mind.
Yeah.
But I think what that's taught me too is like to, as you go through and if you get to the end of the year and you're like, crap, we're already in December, like where'd the year go?
Right.
I mean, where'd quarter one go? We're already past quarter one and we're in quarter two. And I'm like, gee, it's already like April. But I think what I've learned and what I've tried to challenge myself with and some of my other friends that are realtors with in asking the question, like, have you taken time to celebrate the small things, the small celebrations, and have you taken time to like celebrate the big ones? And let's celebrate them together. Like even if you're someone in my office or you're someone that's an agent somewhere else, like on Rethink Council or whatever, like I want to help and be a part of that celebration, And so again, I think it's just like thinking of others and not always yourself, but like also, okay, like, yeah, I do a horrible job of like taking time to celebrate.
Yeah.
And maybe even celebrating like with my team. Like, so that's been one area where I'm like, I want to do better at like, as I move forward and just celebrating those things. So yeah, man.
The moments. Gotta have moments.
I know, gotta have the moments, gotta take time for them. So, do we have any more comments?
I don't see any. Let me refresh real quick, see if anything else came up. Had a lot of folks watching, popping in and out, so that was good. Nope, nothing new.
Cool.
Yeah, good stuff. Guys, let us know anything else comes up, questions, concerns, comments. Want to know more about the market on either Ryan's side of the street with the real estate or anything mortgage related, please reach out. Happy to help.
Absolutely. Yeah. And then it's funny, like I was just gonna say, I'm getting ready to go show houses after this call. So it's like it's one thing after the other, right? Like it's just jumping on and it's going, jumping on and going. But I love it. Like there's times that I think it just keeps me going. And I know you're the same way. It's like when you don't have things, that's when you're kind of like, oh man, like but it's like if it just keeps going, it's good. So I like that. But anyways, I got nothing left.
Thanks for tuning in, guys. Appreciate it. Hopefully you got something out of today.
Thank you, Levi, for talking about the mortgage side. Appreciate that. And we'll probably have to do this more often as things change and as we talk about things getting closer into this surge. So
the surge,
and the vacuum.
if anybody goes to a grocery store or a convenience store and you see Surge, I challenge you,
Ooh.
pick one up, take a photo, send it to me or Ryan, because we're gonna want to hunt those down.
Absolutely. And hey, I'll even make a challenge. I'll even say the first person to do it, I'll send them a t-shirt.
There you go. Ooh,
And
steaks.
by the way, we got new t-shirt colors today. So
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
we went a little mint. So
Bro, I better get one of those.
I kind of like it. So you know you will. When you're
All right.
allowed back in my office, I will give you one.
All right,
All
see
right,
you, man.
guys.
Thanks,
See ya.
guys.
Have a good one.